Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. Hi, good to have you guys. Thanks for joining us today. We are here with the one and only Tom Kilby. Tom Kilby is our VP of Business Development here at EB3 at BDV Solutions. Tom, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Tom?
Thanks for having me, Romina. Yeah, sure. So I actually just had my 5th year anniversary with BDV. I started back in 2021, and I'm obviously a little seasoned. I'm a little older than you, Romina, so I've had a little more experiences in life. But I have been a commercial loan officer for a bank. I've run my own business a couple of times, and up until 21, when I started with BDV, for the last 20 years of my career, I ran a manufacturing facility outside of Greenville, South Carolina, which is where I'm from originally and where our offices are. And we had to shutter the plant. We were right in the thick of basically automotive. There's a lot of automotive businesses around here. BMW's North American headquarters is here. Michelin's headquarters is here. South Carolina's really turned into almost like I've heard someone call us the battery belt instead of the Bible belt. We had a lot of EV, a lot of electric vehicles. Kind of Volvo built a plant down in Charleston. Anyhow, so I struggled to compete with workers, and especially on the entry level. All of our equipment was antiquated, and I had to train from the ground up. So at the end of leaving that company after we sold it, I ran into the founders, and they felt like I would really do real well at the role of business development for BDV. And in all candor, I had no idea what they did, and nor did I even know that the Visa category EB3 existed. And at first, I said it sounds like really too, from the employer standpoint, it sounds like a really good opportunity, almost too good to be true. But the more I got into it and did some deep diving on it, I think my first real reaction was I almost was angry at myself for not knowing about it sooner, because I might have been able to utilize it myself to keep the wolves from the door, so to speak. And so I feel like I understand why the founders, Brent, wanted me to come on board with them, because I've walked in the employer's shoes before, so I really could relate to what they are struggling with entry level workers and turnovers. And so basically, I jumped in, didn't know anything about it, and I can tell our guests that I would say that in the beginning, and maybe even it hasn't improved much, but when I reach out to an employer who just out of the blue, or maybe if it's a referral, if it's out of the blue, I'd say 95% or more of higher even don't even know what EB3 is. The fact of the matter is that unless it's a hospitality business or a business where there's seasonal workers like the H2B category, most people aren't really, and let's say mid market folks really don't know a whole lot about it. So I felt like that has been a really good process for me to be more of an educator
Mm-hmm.
and matchmaker, especially given how much our clients invest in time and dollars. And so it's been really good. So that's kind of where
Yeah.
I've gotten to.
So first, congrats on your 5 years, and we have a lot of people that join in while you were explaining it. So for you guys that just tune in, basically the jobs that you see at EB3, and a lot of you
Yep.
guys follow us religiously to see the jobs where they are, what kind of jobs. Tom Kilby is our person responsible for those jobs. Like he goes out there and he gets those jobs for the foreign nationals, and that's why he's saying that he plays a matchmaker. He does a really fantastic job, and he's been doing that for 5 years now. And he just explained his background, what he did before that, right? Like why he's able to do such a good job for us is because of how he understands that field that he's been doing for, correct me if I'm wrong, 20, that he did it for 20 years or plus. But anyway, so just wanted to, because people keep turning in. But thank you, Tom. Is it, so I guess the question that we mostly get, and we will get from the questions that we get from our people that are joining too, from our clients. But some of the questions that we see coming in is, how do you get your employers? Like, what is the process in BDV and
Yeah.
B2B process to get employers? And as I said, you are responsible for those great jobs that we get. So if you want to just get some light here on
Yeah.
the, for people to understand
Yeah.
what is the process.
Yeah, sure. We really basically have kind of taken at the very beginning, it was just kind of me going out there, connecting with employers locally that I knew. And then we just started growing. I think more recently, we've become uh, more of a listener to our clients about where they potentially maybe want to be in the sense where they might be currently. And so therefore we're seeing, different areas of the country that I'm trying to spend my time in. Now, finding someone in, for example, we're in South Carolina, we've got an employer, just say Kansas. That comes about by us asking someone who we're working with and partnering with now, hey, who do you think could benefit from the programs? Because everybody has a friend. You're not in an industry without knowing other people in your industry, right? It's the world is kind of like that. And so basically, when they say, "Hey, I've got a friend," or they're the other avenue that we do a little research on our own, and we just do cold outreach and call them and say, "Hey, are you experiencing?" Or I see from your website you've got a huge offering and need a bunch of workers in entry level unskilled. Have you considered utilizing an EB3 visa program to do your staffing? So multiple ways it could come to us, but ultimately my job is for the most part spent explaining the program from the sponsor standpoint, which entails at least about an hour long meeting every time. The second hour meeting, which is the second kind of a follow up meeting where we've got a little more detailed. When you're meeting with someone that's never heard about EB3, you really are dumping a lot of information in their lap for them to figure out and to filter it through and sort it out in their mind. So a lot of times, the second meeting is followed up by calls about our clients, like who are these folks? Where are they coming from? Where are they now? They have questions about the clients. And that's kind of that second meeting is where, you know, they hear me explain to them the importance of the relationship that they're going to have with us as the employer sponsor for our clients, because it's a long process. It's not a today process. It's not like a staffing. It's a completely different thought process. Lately, I've been somewhat giving it the analogy of if you ever wanted shade, lumber, or fruit, you should have planted a tree 20 years ago. And the second best day is today, because it does take a long time to bear fruit, and it does take a long time for the employers to get their workers. Obviously, our clients know that because it takes them a long time to get work authorized and start. So for me, it's always been really important for the employer to understand that we have our clients humans. These are people. It's not just like we say, hey, we got 30 spots for this job, and they don't have a clue. It's important for us to tell them, hey, we had 30 of our clients, and these are people who have signed up and basically committed to their journey in the EB3 world to that employer. So it's important for me to know a couple of things about the employer. One, is that they are in a good, sound financial footing because the Department of Labor, USCIS, wants to make sure that because this is an immigrant-based visa, that our the employer who's wanting to sponsor workers can afford to do so, has been around long enough, and isn't biting off more than they can chew, right? So to speak, like they say, oh my gosh, I could use 100 workers, but if they can only afford to sponsor 10, it's our job to make sure that we don't give them more than they can afford. Now, um, there are certain steps that they have to go through with us, and as opposed to like on the EB3 side is a lot different from a seasonal worker, for example, an H2B, where an employer just says, yeah, I want, because those are non-immigrant visas, those people come with a work contract, and there's not the vetting of the employer that that goes on with the Department of Labor for H2B like there is with EB3. It's pretty intense. The Department of Labor wants to make sure that business is a viable business and it's not, just kind of a potential area for the program to be played, but that the business is strong, is sound financially, and the job that they're, it's not a new job; it's an existing job that they can't find enough Americans to fill.
Yeah.
So that's important for us. And I think if you talk to any of our long second round sponsors, so we've had, I'm really proud of the fact and you've been involved with this for years with me and as a team, really proud of the fact that if an employer is eligible to do a second round, 100% of the ones that we've said it's time to go have said, let's do this again. So that really speaks to a couple of areas. One, it speaks to the clients, and they really love our clients. Our clients in their eyes are motivated. Okay. I mean, above all and everything else, forget that they might have a slight accent or a small language barrier. These people, our clients, are really motivated to do a job. They commit to work in the role for a year, and the employers appreciate that. The other great thing that they look forward to is the fact that our clients can be moved up. They can be promoted as in a natural progressive role. So I think we recently did a video that we did out with that McDonald's guy in Kansas, where they've got multiple managers in that market that had started out as entry level and are turning it into a career. So the employers are not just looking always for a entry level worker; they're looking for someone that they can, help turn into a career employee. So
Absolutely.
that for me and a lot of our clients I know have a college degree. Some are doing the consular side and whatever, and might not, or might have a consular degree in their country. Have a degree in a college degree from their country, but at the end of the day, what every American employer wants is someone to show up for work and be enthused about being there.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And I'm surrounded by comments from our employers when they finally do get workers about how impressed they are with our clients. They feel like um, they're not just providing them a job. They understand because we explain to them um, the role that they play in our client's journey of becoming an American and getting a green card. And I will tell you that a lot of folks never realize it dawns on them at some point in this process, and they're like, "Hey, God, this is great." They feel really good about being part of this, process with us because of what we're ultimately able to do for the foreign national who wants to
Yeah.
come here.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I just want to go back in well, 2 points. One, it's you do such a great job explaining the process to employers, right? Like new employers. And that's why we have such a big numbers of second rounds. So I really wanted to salute you on that and congratulations on the relationship that you keep, because it's not just making it, explaining and all that, but throughout the years, you keeping that relationship and keeping them informed, and that is why they keep coming back to Tom and asking for more and more. And Tom, that's a good problem to have, right? Like when
Yeah.
your customers are always coming back to you because they love what you're offering them. So, but that's part of the knowledge and how easy you put it in front of them, because it could be a complicated process for somebody that never heard of it, but
Oh yeah.
Tom makes it very simple, and he explains to our employers, which makes our clients' life easier too. Because like I said again, I love how you put it that you play a matchmaker, and you really do play a matchmaker, and you have both sides really happy. Which I just want to make the second point of the numbers, right? Like when you say, um, well, we go out there and we get the people to work with us, and we explain really well, but also like we get the foreign nationals that are looking at service and looking at where they should go.
Yeah.
We are thinking, we have our numbers here that we say we have more than 13 years in the field, and Tom just celebrated his 5 years working with us. So we've been in the industry in the field for 13 years. We have more than 1,800 green card approved, right? And we have 99% success rate, which it tells a lot.
Yeah.
And now we have more than 250, so 250 plus five-star reviews, which is great
Wow.
because people coming back and really
Yeah.
happy with us and give us a five-star review. Besides the strong government relations that we have with
Yeah.
that we have our team that does that on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, that we update here um, our clients. But I wanted to go back on the second round because that's just some of the questions that we get to Tom. Well, how do you feel? Like, do people sometimes they just want to have someone that has done the work, that has had BDV employees before, and they waiting on, hey, let me wait on somebody that's doing a second round. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that the jobs, when they go up live, has have they been approved by you? Have they been approved by BDV? It's good to go. What's your message for people that are right now just waiting on employers? They're doing a second, third, or fourth round.
I think my message today would be different than it was when I first started. Because when I first started, I think we were able, the company and the government were allowing us to get workers to an employer in 2 years, right? So it wasn't such a far reaching process for the employer standpoint, but things have changed. So I would tell a client that there are certain jobs that we offer that the job itself is the same thing as it is in Kansas as it is in South Carolina. Like McDonald's is a good example. A crew member for a fast food restaurant, it's the same job. I would not, if I were them, based on what I'd seen, I would not wait. I would pick one,
Mm-hmm.
and I would pick the job. And I will tell you, a lot of our growth within different employers has been through referrals. So it's an interesting story. Like I don't go, for example, if we have a janitorial company in Charleston that has a job opening right now, when we partnered with that employer, I didn't go across the street and ask the other guy across the street that's in the janitorial world if he wanted workers too. You got to understand, we our the employers almost sometimes can look at this as a competitive advantage. So what I end up getting is, hey, I've got a friend that's up in North Carolina, not even in the same market. So I get bumped all around the country, but I get bumped to employers who know each other, have a friend in the biz, whatever. And so I just say, look, man, I think everybody, if it were me and I were taking this journey, I would sign up as soon as possible for somebody who, at this point, I'm much more confident in the employer being here for the long haul. We've gotten a lot deeper in that in relationship with the employer. Um, you know, so I can expect that they will all be here for a long period of time because what I don't think people started realizing in the very beginning, the people being the employers, is that this program in theory can become a perpetual pipeline of workers because inevitably businesses grow. They're going to turn over, and just naturally, people are going to turn over. And for them to have had the ability to line people up and know that, hey, we've got 20 workers, 25 workers that have signed up for this job that'll trickle in approximately here, that helps them plan their business and that helps them win. So they really like it. I get that they are, I think ultimately everybody is going to do a second round that we've ever talked to. It's just a matter of they have to wait long enough, have gotten far enough through before they can file and get back in line again. So um, if I were a client, I would not wait because the timelines and the ability for them to do that, I would just jump in with something similar.
I
Um,
couldn't agree more with you. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't agree more with you because we in marketing, we hear in testimonials, and you guys are following us. You see weekly testimonials, right? And one repetitive point that they make is the only thing I would do different is to start sooner, right? So because the sooner you start, like the sooner you get to the line. So sometimes we wait and wait and wait, and yeah, things change and things can get more complicated down the road. So or not, but the other way around. But the one thing that everyone has in common is, hey, I wish I had started sooner.
yeah, you get in line. And it's the same analogy that I give the employer. The sooner you start, the sooner the worker's going to get here. Well, the sooner, if you're a client, you start, the
Mhm.
sooner you're going to get to work. So, I just think it is a big commitment. I completely appreciate it and applaud it. I think I shared with you one time I was here maybe so during COVID. I kind of got interested in my family background. My grandfather immigrated here from Sweden, and I didn't really appreciate or know what it took to become an American. If you weren't one, and so I did a little research and bought the Amazon book about taking the test and studying, like the old civics class that I probably didn't pay good enough attention in. And I did it with my wife and my daughters, and we just kind of laughed at ourselves because we weren't up to speed with answering the questions the right way. But then I was here. I was in the office. I think I'd been at BDV maybe 3 weeks. I walked in, and there was an entire family and all their worldly belongings in a bunch of hard cased, suitcases like piled up in the office. I walked in, I was like, "What in the world?" And they were a client, and they had moved their whole family here. I think they were from South Africa, and it really kind of resonated with me. And the reason why I explained to my friends and family why I like what I do is because I appreciate what they're doing as a client. I appreciate the fact that they are working hard to get here, and I've seen and can relate to their journey to an extent. But and I don't really consider myself like a salesperson. I feel like I'm more of a business development educator because, right, but it really truly is one of the most win-win. Main win like 4 times. So the client wins; they get a path to citizenship. We win because we were able to match the two together. The employer wins because they get a worker, and they get a worker that they can turn into somebody that might work for them for 10 years. They find a motivated worker. And at the end of the day, the client wins because they're on that path. So, I think the employers out there appreciate me explaining the program to them and a lot of why they sign up for it is because we have such a great stable of clients, and the larger we've gotten and the more workers that have started work and got through the system, the more great stories and positive feedback we've got from the employers about the clients, and I think that's contagious. So the clients should be told the same analogy. If you want fruit from the tree, if you want shade from the tree, or if you want lumber from the tree, you better plant it today, because you're not going to get them tomorrow. It's definitely worth the investment to get into and get in line now.
100%, yes.
Yeah.
So we have 4 minutes left, and we got a few comments that we're gonna send it to our team to follow up. It seems from existing clients. We did have one that wants to have a partnership with you, Tom. We will send it your way as well. But if you're listening, if you have any questions about the process that Tom has in finding the employers and the job itself, please text us right now. We are answering those questions, but it seems like we have some opportunities for you, Tom, that we're going to send your way. And then those of you that had questions about your current process, about the timing, we will also address it with the correct team. That it's, like I said, Tom is in charge of giving you the jobs, right? So anything related to the questions with the jobs, please let us know. Anything else, Tom, in this 3 minutes that we have left, while people are thinking of questions?
I think, I'm sure I've volunteered to do this again as your calendar, as you run through. I think these things can be done maybe once or twice a year from my perspective, and I'm happy to do that. They obviously can get a hold of me via the team, and if a question is really unique, I'll get them to the end of the answer to it as well. But no, I'm good. I don't really have anything else to add other than we've got a lot on our plate for 2026. I have a new team member who's kind of going to be out there beating the bushes, as they say, for opportunities for sponsors with me. And we're getting deeper and deeper with our relationships with our existing sponsors. So I'm positive and looking forward to a good 2026.
Yeah, me too. And Tom, I wanted to thank you for everything you do. It must feel really great seeing this family, like you said, that family on your third week. Imagine how many families you help in this 5 years, right? So you are changing people's lives. So I want to thank you for your hard work and everything you do to allow our clients to have the options of the sponsors that they have when they log into our website and they create an account.
I wish, knowing what you guys do in client experiences team, I wish that more of our prior clients would share their stories, because you'd be surprised at how many of us at BDV that those things motivate us. Like, what are we motivated by every day? Part of one of the big things for me is I love hearing success stories about our clients, and because I know that inevitably that there was an employer that I could talk to about it, we could share that together. So, sharing, I'd love to see the clients share more with us of their journey. That's really cool.
Yeah,
a lot
that
of
sounds
people appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom. I just want to answer one question. If you have, they were asking us if we have a H-2B visa. We do. We have a sister company that offers that. So we will be sending your way, Manuel de Jesus. And then all the questions seems to be related to the cases in place. So we will send it to the correct team. But and then, like I said, Tom, it seems like someone wants to have a talk with you to be a partner as well. And we'll send
Happy to. Great. Right. Thanks for helping me get through the video. Appreciate it, Romina.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.